Good afternoon, not good morning. It's Monday morning. It's been a little while for either illness or holiday, but it's Judge's Jules. And good morning, Si. Good weekend?
Yeah, very good, mate. Thank you. Better yesterday on the results wise than Saturday. Sandown was great yesterday, but Saturday was tough. And of course, that low sun, Judge.
I don't know. I don't know what to say, mate. We know the same thing happens nearly every year.
Yeah, we've said it all that has to be said. What a farce.
Yeah.
I will give you my just very quick thoughts. And also, before we say anything, you did the business on Saturday. HHV, the judge, pummeled me with old Takari Bay at 8-1 there. Brilliant. Really good work there, mate.
It was, we'll go through that in a minute, but that high draw bias on Saturday was massive, wasn't it? We did sort of flag it up in the morning. In fact, you needed to be in the top stalls. It's just, we'll go through it again later on, but the top four stalls were fighting the finish up, certainly in all the sprints. And even in the November handicap, they come up the stand rail, and that made all the difference. One smooth operator I've been following off a cliff, and unfortunately I didn't tip on Saturday, and that was one that got away.
Yeah, one that got away. Yeah, all good.
Brilliant, mate. So shall we get started then?
Why not?
Right, brilliant. I shall start actually on that theme. I'm looking at the 240 at Newcastle, which was the on Saturday, which was the novice stakes or the maiden race there. And the original overnight betting had the front two in betting drawn in 1 and 2. And what ended up going off favourite, Harry did, I think it was drawn 9, not surprisingly. And the winner ended up being drawn 8. But my horse here that for the tracker is a horse called Wait and Hope. It's a Carl Burke horse. And his horses have been out of form recently. And this was her horse's second run after running very well over 7 furlongs at Redcar in a race that we flagged up with a winner coming out of it, which you flagged up last time. Well, this came 5th to Volterra on debut, but this was a very interesting run because if you watch from the stalls, from stall 2, missed the break, come right across the stands rail and was last after a furlong. Couldn't get through, then come through under a hat, pushing along, and then was, let's say, given an introductory ride into 4th place. Now, this is this horse's second run. Whether they might want to win a maiden with it, which I do think they will over 7. I don't think they'll win a maiden over 6 with it. I do think they could win a poor maiden over 7. I think this horse, hopefully, might be lined up for handicaps for next season. And I think this is all you want to be putting in your tracker. Perhaps not next time, but certainly the time after. Speeding Bullet was the horse that you flagged up, if you remember, which won next time. Wait and Hope was 5th in that race, and that was a strong maiden at Redcar, where it's a novice stakes race over 7. We think that was a good race. It was 5th that day on debut. This was back to a stiff 6, but it was staying on under a ham ride. I think this wants 7, even though it's bred really to be a sprinter. Calix out of Dubai Fair, loads of speed in the pedigree, but it's very much shaped like a 7 furlong horse. So the first horse for my tracker is Wait and Hope.
Yeah, interesting race. We spoke on Saturday, didn't we? I tipped Zamoon, who was a bad move from 1. Back of the class for me. Daniel Muscat used up all the gas to get across, and the horse was knackered late on. But I think Zamoon will still win in his turn. Yeah, Wait and Hope, definitely. But if you remember late morning when everything had gone out, I told you that Ed Walker was very sweet on the 3rd, Free as a Bird, and he talked about the race it had run in before being above average. Now, I think this was a strong heat, and I agree with you, Wait and Hope is definitely the one to take out of it, or the chief one to come out of it. But I'd actually keep an eye on quite a few of these. I think this is strong form for a Class 4, and I suspect that quite a few winners will come out of this over the winter, Judge, so definitely yours, but I would urge people not to be, chucking them all in the tracker and backing them blind. But I think this is a race that will work out as very strong form.
I agree, very much so. So your first one, mate, where are we going?
Right, we are going. That's a good question, in general, isn't it?
I think we're going to get to Exeter on Friday, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to Exeter on Friday. And the race, folks, is the 255. The Betway Future Stars Silver Bolt Novice Chase. Some very good horses have won this. And while it may not be a vintage renewal, I do think it was an interesting race, chiefly because if people remember it or have read about it or seen the replay, the favourite, the odds-on Stay Away Fay, I'll just read the Racing Post comments. Led narrowly, disputed lead, headed and prominent from the 6th, led clearly by the 13th, then pushed along and headed, even lost second after 3 out. Appeared to be going nowhere, ridden approaching last, rallied and led on running. The horse went out to 125 to 1 in running. Now, there's not many odds-on shots that go on to win that go out to that price. It was an extraordinary race. Now, the horse that I have nominated here is the 3rd, Great Dawning, who went off quite weak late on, was as short as 7 to 4, went out to about 5 to 2 on the exchanges. And the reason I'm going to highlight this, Judge, because Harry Skelton over the summer, I think, must have read a book, and the book must have been called How to Hold Up Horses Too Far Back, because he's a completely different rider this year. He's always been one who's been quite aggressive. And I don't know whether he's just had a real change of tactics. He has had hold up horses before, but he's given a lot of horses a lot to do. And I thought he gave us a very, very quiet ride, this Great Dawning. And it looked like he'd smuggled it into it. And then I think towards the end, he might well have blown up. And I think the changing man, the second horse, blew up maybe. And I think Stay Away Fay just stayed on and picked the 2 up again. And it looked really odd. And I think it's probably a case of that the second and third have smuggled into it, past the leader. Then they both tied up on the run-in, and Nicholls' horse, Stay Away Fay, has just powered past them. But what I really liked was the way Great Dawning jumped the fences. Exeter's quite an easy course for novices or for any horse to jump. That's quite small fences. But I'd love to see this at Cheltenham or a Newbury. It really jumped steeply and accurately. Probably a bit slow, actually, for Exeter. And I think the other 2 that were first and second were quicker over the obstacles. But as jumping technique, Great Dawning looks a real prospect. I'd love to see him at Sandown next. Quite like to see him at Cheltenham or Chepstow. A stiffer test. I am sure that this is going to be looked back on as the Irish probably will be the stronger in the chasing department. They have been for the last 10 years. But in the English division, I think we have seen here 3 useful chasers. And I think that Great Dawning, ridden with a bit more aggression and on a stiffer track next time, will reward. And if you did back it the other day, I think you will get your money back and more. So my first horse is Great Dawning from last Friday at Exeter.
I think that a novice chase win, that's a formality, but it's definitely a graded horse over fences, isn't it? I mean, he's a Grade 2 winner over hurdles. Funny enough, a lot of his good form has been on flat tracks, but also with the emphasis, like he won at Warwick, and it stayed on strongly there when it won its Grade 2, but it's one round Kempton. Wonder whether it would end up in the old Cato Star, whether it would be necessarily as good enough for that kind of race. But it's won at 2 mile 5. It hasn't won yet at 3 miles, I don't think. But he's definitely an interesting horse. And like you say, Skelton horses have been a bit slow to come to hand this year as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. And he's a huge
different approach to it.
Yeah.
I like the horse. And, yeah, I agree. I think that, like you say, I think that race will work out well because, like you say, the winner's a good horse, which proven in the Albert Bartlett last year. So it's it's real solid form. I'd be surprised if that doesn't be showing up in Gravy Company at least this season. Good shout, mate. Nice pick. I'm going complete opposite actually. From you're going 3 miles sort of over fences if you like. I'm going to a 2 mile hurdle race for my next one. And it was in the, better get the right race for us, in the 12:40 at Wincanton, which ended up a bit of a shambles of a race, if I'm honest. The winner was Meatloaf. It went like a bat out of hell. I had to get the easy joke in there for you, nice and early. Right. But it was. I tipped up horse in the race, well, the softest seat I've seen in a long time. So I did spend a little bit of time moaning, but unfortunately, the second favourite made a nasty fault. Had a nasty fault. The second last. Luckily, it got up, which I was pleased to see. Dancing in Brazil with a soft unseat, and then Walk on High fell over. I was actually surprised for the money for a horse called Lily Luna here at a mare against some decent bumper performers. They've all had solid form here, and also Walk on High had really good novice hurdle form. And well, Lily Luna, I would say, was backed into 8, so I kind of made it a 20s chance. I'm honest, against this kind of opposition. And she ran a really good race. I know you could say it was a couple of faults. She would have beaten Walk on High if Walk on High hadn't fell anyway. So she's a worthy second in this race. Back in against Mare's Company, I think she will win Mare's novice hurdles. But last year she was fourth in a Cheltenham Mare's Bumper, which has actually thrown up winners and actually thrown up good form going forwards. And I think she could be quite a nice one. And Jeremy Scott's stable tends to make a sort of slower start. As the season goes, you often find that he starts having winners. It's a stable I like to follow. December, January, you often see him having a few winners. And I think Lily Luna winning a novice hurdle and then probably into handicaps is a horse to be following. So that's the second one for the tracker.
Yeah, and I think that the horse, it's a classic tracker horse because she'll be underrated for the very reason that the two horses unseated. So people will doubt the form. But like you, late money, ran well. Meatloaf, clearly a good performer. Obviously, no joke intended there. But yeah, I can see that. And like you, I'm a big fan of Jeremy Scott. And I'll tell you another thing, on about swimming against the tide and punting strategies. Jeremy Scott's one of those trainers that his horses are always a bigger price than they should be. He lands some big races and some big gambles with horses that start like 12, 14s to 1 and are backed into 6, 7, 8. So he really is a trainer you want to get with when the money's down. Yeah, jumped well. The clue, I suppose, was put in against the boys.
Yeah.
And back. That shows you that he rates the horse. So I wouldn't put anybody
so.
off that, certainly. But good shout there, mate. Yeah. Interesting race. And again, a little bit of luster taken off by the fallers, but still got close to a good horse. So, yeah, very good. My second horse ran at Aintree on Saturday. Now, I'm having it both ways here. I'm saying put a line through, what a farcical day, blah, blah, blah. But I still think we saw a couple of good horses in the first race. Yes, 4 hurdles were omitted. However, the Nigel Twiston Davis horse. Now, I'm not a great fan of this yard. Everything is hyped up and hyped up and hyped up. However, I do think the winner, Josh the Boss, he's talking about being a festival horse. It may not be a festival winning horse, but it's a horse that's going to run at the big festivals. Made all, stayed on. Impressive performer. That was its second win in a row. Did well to give a good field a penalty. Now, the second favourite and the well-back flash in the park was you want to get that out of your tracker. Complete lunatic. Bolted on the way at the start. If you watch the race, first mile and a half, it's waving its head about. There's no way he was going to stay on in that ground. So we put a line through him. He needs to learn to settle quickly. Really expensive purchase for the Pauling Yard as well. But the second horse, one of the shrewdest guys in training, Magical King, Stuart Edmonds, I thought ran a real eye-catching race here, Judge. Hurdled superbly, what few hurdles they were. Kieran Gethings was not particularly hard on this horse. There was a bit of money for it, but he didn't give it really an all-action ride. I'm sure if it could have won, they would have gone for it. I think Manila double in third is a good yardstick here. That's a highly rated horse. Magical King beat that, jumped well. I think that Edmonds will go somewhere like Warwick, or he likes Market Raisin, and I think this will go off in a novice hurdle or class 4, probably at around 5 to 4, 11 to 10. I think it'll probably bolt up. I really, really do. I think that at strong form, I think they'll want to get a win in next time. I would have thought they'd quite happily drop it. Like I say, he tends to go for Warwick, Market Raisin, that type of second-tier track. Or we may see it somewhere like Haydock. But wherever it goes, I've got this one in capital letters. I think this is a novice hurdle winner waiting to happen very soon. Like soft ground, there's going to be so much soft ground around for the next couple of months at least. Plenty of opportunities. Like I say, I suspect they'll drop. You'll see it as a real W money somewhere. And I would wade in. I think it's a really promising hurdler from a very, very shrewd cookie. So, big capital letters eye catcher. Magical King, who rang in the 12.25 at Aintree.
Yeah, it's a really solid run. You wouldn't be happy if you spent 350 grand on Flash in the Park, would you?
Well, you wouldn't. And I mean, I don't know where you go from here. Like I say, I wasn't there, but I had some of the paddock things, and a couple of the paddock pickers straight away said, imposing horse, won a point to point, gone for an absolute fortune, can't wait to see it. And we're writing things like, oh my God, this is buzzed up. This is like on edge. Down to the start. And if you watch, he's trying to settle it at the start, and it is actually waving its head as they like get it. And the first couple of actually, he probably wanted the hurdles in because it would have slowed him down. And when it becomes a flat race like it did on Saturday, there's no breather. You know, there's no chance to settle to get a stride in. I don't know what they're going to do there, Judge. I mean, they're going to have another go, but that didn't look like that was going to settle anytime soon. So there's be a real test of Pauline's skills there. And of course, the owner would have been like head in his hands, wouldn't he? Yeah. 350 large ones. Whoosh.
I do. Sometimes I do think these horses, like, you know, at the end of the day, you're not going to get the 350 large back, but he's a sort of horse they've had the first run, not gone well. Let's get 3 runs into him. Let's get an handicap mark. And then let's give him a little bit of a break or whatever. And then all of a sudden you might see at the back end of the season. But
it's a horse can learn.
Yeah, it's one of them things
when you might like a proper screwball,
hasn't gone well. But I'm not saying put it in your tracker. What I'm saying is put him in your track with a view to keeping an eye on him. And then he might go in at a later date.
Yeah, not with my money, you won't.
No, I know. But you know what I'm trying to say? You don't need backing him when that's
I get it. I never write anything off.
350 grand.
Never write anything off. Never write anything off in this game.
Yeah,
but some horses give you that. Oh no feeling.
No, that was definitely an older no run for now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. We're on to the last one.
If a guy who spent 350 large is watching, the judge wants a private word about making a small cash bid. You might have to lower your sights.
Yeah. I don't think you'd be at the festival, to put it that way. Let's get to an handicap or something. Yeah. Very good. Anyway, moving swiftly on, literally. Because I think I've got to put the kettle on for my last one. I liked a horse called Brewing that run in the 3:15 at Newcastle on Saturday. Now, once again, this was another sprint. I know I've become sort of a bit monotonous about this, but once again, the draw was massive. Winner drawn 9, second drawn 10. Enough said. Good run from Gisborne, drawn 2 in third.
Very good.
What I like about this race, there's still the solid ones were in behind. You had Bielsa, who's been very, very consistent this season, running RPRs in the 100 all the time, was second. Gisborne was third, who come on the back of a good win last time out. And then you had Guidor and Zip, who have been really consistent throughout this season. They both had excellent seasons. So all the right horses are in behind. And this horse now has only had 5 starts and won 4 of them. 3 from 3 at Newcastle. Won this off a mark of 90. This was back to 6, and its previous 2 wins have been over 7. I think a stiff 6 is definitely okay. I can still see it actually improving for going to 7. But obviously, winning this, it's probably going to get sort of £6 or £7, put it into the high 90s. I can see this horse is improving. I can see this possibly running in something maybe at the end of the all-weather season. Could even be on all-weather's finals day. This is an improving horse. Only a 4-year-old gelding. In the right hands with William Haggis. It's improved run on run. And I like this horse, mate. And I think this might well have another couple of wins in it. So Brewing is my last one for the tracker.
Yeah, I could see this being kept on the go. Could you this winter? That you like you say, solid yardsticks. Bielsa, Gisborne's run a cracker from 2. Guido's had a great year. Zip, wow, doesn't owe any of us anything. That horse. No. The only one I'd flag up from this, and I totally agree with you with Brewing for maybe an all-weather finals day horse, is. I'll just make the comment. The 6th horse, Magical Spirit, is now becoming a very, very well handicapped horse. Now, I wonder, Judge, if they got their big price, saw they were drawn in 3, saw how Friday went, saw how the early race on Saturday were going, and thought, and I'm only summarising, maybe there will be other opportunities. Do you watch the ride back? But he's going to go down again after that. He's got a course win at Newcastle and course and distance win. There's a lot of sprints run at Newcastle, as I know, to sort through them. And I just thought, maybe him bullying a weaker field. off his new mark, I think he is becoming a extremely well handicapped horse. And I think that like you said,
you put this up, Si. I think you put this up at York ages ago, back in July. It travelled all over. I don't think it was an actual tracker horse, but it's the day Summergand nearly won, and I put Summergand up.
I shouted him up that day, didn't I?
Yeah, and I've actually tipped it up a couple of times. It's next to start. I think I tipped it up in the Air Gold Cup and the race at York, and it's two really bad runs, but it was friendless in the market on both occasions. But like you, this horse now has got some back class, and like you say, it's got to probably go down another 2 or 3. It's going to be high 80s.
It's getting to the point where they're going to have a go on this soon.
Yeah, well, it's won off 94 this season, so it's well up to winning a race. And this really proved it handles the all-weather, doesn't it? I'd like it at Newcastle, though, wouldn't you? A nice stiff finish, because it's not Linfield or Wolverhampton, really.
No. This is the place they're going to land a touch with. This and here, definitely.
A nice wide track, preferably when it's not quite such a draw bias. But
preferably when he's drawn high, yeah.
But no, he's one to keep an eye on. So you've got a little Brucey bonus there, for anyone who's following.
Yeah. Chuck in a third, excellent.
Yeah. Well, that's everything. That's a good show. I've enjoyed it. A busy week ahead with Cheltenham at the back end, mate. Looking forward to that.
It's going to be a cracker. Yeah, and we will be highlighting a race on Saturday, shall we say? See if Judge can go in again after his 8-1 success. So great stuff.
Yeah, lovely, mate. Lovely. Yeah, it's nice to get back in amongst the winners and just getting my teeth into the jumps now, really, as it's just getting going.
Yeah, we're really getting into the teeth of the season now. Yeah.
And now, what do we say at the end of the show, mate?
We say, be lucky.
Lucky.